I know. Okay, good morning, everyone. Again, welcome to our class. This time, we'll be having the lecture number 5. Lecture number 6 supposedly, pero lecture number 5 pa din ang tawag natin. So, we'll be having that for our class. I'll be sharing my screen. Uh-huh. So we're down with our 4 and 5 bonuses for this lesson. Okay, so lecture number 6, unit number 6, adolescence. So now we are in the high school. Our favorite, ayan. So high school, kung nakaraan, almost high school, elementary, little bit elementary days. Ngayon is talagang high school na. Now, supposedly, we'll be discussing about your relationships with your parents during your high school days. But since we're not wait lang. Okay, since we're not we'll not be meeting today. Wait, mali yata yung ginawa ko. Okay. So I'll just share my relationship with my parents when I was in high school. Supposedly kasi this would be your activity. So, but now since wala kayo, I'll be sharing my story. For me, my mom and I didn't have a good relationship when I was in high school. Probably because she's very busy, because my mom is a dean before, dean of nursing, and my father is a seaman. So, he's not always around. He's always here every year, but not all the time. We don't have a good relationship because my mom, although she is an authoritarian, but she's always busy, and mainit din ang ulo kasi ng mommy ko because I do understand it because she's been handling different college student, faculty members, which is very hard for her as well. So, we don't have that good relationships with my parents. Nagkaroon lang kami ng naging okay lang kami when I became a college student, especially when I have my first class. Kasi first work, kasi I do understand where she's going kasi nga it's really hard pala talaga to become a parent and also to deal with a kid. Especially when I was growing up, I thought, ayaw mo ko pag-boyfriendin. At kasi nag-boyfriend ako grade 7. So, yun. Grade 7 ako nag-jowa. And my mother didn't like it, of course. Sino ba naman ang magulang na gusto na mag-jowa yung anak mo for the age of grade 7 is very young. So, I do understand. They were actually very disappointed in me when I was growing up because my grades are not that good, but I do manage to be accepted here in Bulso, Maine. May mga hindi na-accept pero I was accepted. Nakita ko yung pangalan ko dun sa listahan. That's why I'm very happy. And they thought that I will be, eventually, I will marry early. Pero as of now, hindi. Hindi pa ako itinutulak na nila ako. I didn't realize as well when I was in high school na dadating sa point na my mom and dad will request me to have a family na. So I didn't expect that that will happen to me, but it did. So it's really different. So now, let us define as adolescence. Adolescence is well, I'll stop sharing. Mali yata yung na-open ko. Wait lang. Okay. Mali ako nang na-share. Wait lang ha. So, nasa na yun? It's not here. Okay. Wait lang. Mhm. Lecture number 5. Ayun nga, ito tayo. Oh, ayun, mali. Ayan, ayan na. Okay na. Okay. Okay, yan. Sorry. So, I'll be sharing my screen again. Okay, so dun tayo sa adolescence. Now, let us define adolescence. How do the authors of this book define adolescence? This a period of adolescence begins with biological changes of the puberty and ends with the role and work of adult life. The specific ages for this period varies from person to person, but distinct phases have been identified. The advent of puberty may come early for some and late for some others, but everyone goes through these stages. These stages are: 1, early adolescence, is characterized by puberty mostly occurring between ages 10 to 13. Middle adolescence characterized by identity issues within ages 4 and 16. And 3, late adolescence, which marks the transition into adulthood, ages 7 to to 20. Now, adolescence is a period of transition in terms of physical, cognitive, and social emotional changes. So, this module, of course, we will know the different issues concerning the adolescence period. Now, what are the pubertal changes? In all cultures, biological change comprises the major transition from childhood to adolescence. This is manifested by a change in physical appearance, a more rapid rate of development, and known as growth spurts. The phenomenon commonly results in a feeling of awkwardness and unfamiliarity with the body changes. For instance, sa babae, not all, you're very lucky if wala kayong growing hair sa armpits ninyo. Because in our culture, hindi siya not so acceptable. But nowadays, it's common na. We are now, little by little, accepting that growing armpits have hairs talaga. They're designed to have hairs and not all have the smoothest things. But because of the models and artists na tinatanggal yon, medyo na-insecure tayo. But when we were growing up, of course, it's hard for us. Kasi, like for example, I have this classmate of mine. Yung sa kanya kasi when I was younger kasi nung high school time, yung sa armpits, we were already instructed na mag-shave or if not shave, pluck it using tweezers. Yung wax kasi later ko na siya late it was introduced later na lang when I was Um, high school na, late high school or to college or maybe working na kasi siyempre bibilin mo yung wax eh. It's not free, okay? So unlike dun sa tweezers, isang beses mo lang siyang bibilin. So and that's it. So I have this classmate of mine, naging issue siya. Kasi pinagtatawanan siya ng mga iba naming kaklase kasi pagkita mo talaga sobrang sobrang kapal. Okay. Ang sexy-sexy tas ang kapal-kapal nun. But nowadays because of cultural change and many women will tell na it's fine if you have hairs down there. So it yun. And of course, nakakahiya. In sa boys din, nagsisimula na yung bigote, yung balbas. Actually, yung mga nahihiya nga sa atin is yung mga wala. Okay? Yung mga walang bigote at balbas, sila during that time parang, "Hala, ba't yung mga klase ko may bigote na, ako wala pa?" Parang gano'n. So, it changed. The voices have already changed. Adolescent na, nag-change na. That's why, um, and we all know that the pleasure na is back to the penis na. So before, 'di ba, ang pleasure ng bata is sucking gano'n tas hanggang sa this is the stage na balik na siya do'n. So it really changes. That's why in this one may mga iba talaga na for teenage pregnancy as early as grade 7, they are engaged in the coitus, sabi nga ni Sheldon Cooper, and engaged in they do have sexual intercourses na during grade 7 because the pleasure is back there. Yun. The growth spurs throughout life, the growth hormone conditions gradual increase in body size and weight, but hormone flooding occurs during adolescence, causing an acceleration known as a growth spurt. Body changes include in body dimensions, the leg length, shoulder width, trunk length. In particular, spurt in height as ascribed. Dito sa adolescence, usually tumatangkad ng bongga yung lalaki. Ito na sila. Ito na yung hinahantay nilang matangkad na sila. Peak niya is 11 and a half and decreasing at the age 13, while slow continual growth occurs for several more years. Boys begin their growth spurt later than girls at around age 12. Kaya unang tatangkat yung mga babae. Kaso't sabi ng nanay ko, 'pag nag-mens na, medyo bumabagal na siya, which is actually very true. Konti lang yung tinangkad ko after ko nagkaroon ng menstruation. But for the boys, grabe yung tangkad nila. Even the smallest boy before, sila yung isa sa mga matatangkad. Ang galing-galing ano, bigla, parang paggulat ka nagbakasyon tapos pagbalik ng kaklase mo, ang tangkad mo na, gano'n. At age 16 and 1/4 girls reach 98% of their adulthood height, while boys do so at the age of 17 and 1/4. Growth in height is conditioned by the stages of bone maturation. The muscles also grow in terms of size and strength, while similar spurt occurs for weight, muscle size, head, and face maturation. So yung mga baby face na hindi na siya nagiging mukha ng matanda. Kaya sometimes some of your classmates, you will well, I have this student of mine, sobrang lakas ng growth spurt niya. He was just grade 8 student. Lagi siyang tinatanong ng mga hindi pa nakakilala sa, "Anong course mo?" Tapos sabi niya, "Ma'am, grade 8 pa lang ako, tinatanong na ako anong course ko." Gano'n. So, kasi nga may mga bata talaga na matanda yung face nila. Okay, so yun. Pero may mga bata naman na na kahit na matanda na sila, they still have the baby face with them. So, sexual maturity, the series of hormonal changes accompanying puberty, is complex. Hormones are recognized to be powerful and highly specialized chemical substances that interact with bodily cells. The triggering by hormones of the hypothalamus gland on hormones of the pituitary gland signals the entire process of sexual maturation. During the process, gonadotrophic hormones are secreted by the anterior pituitary, which lies beneath the base of the brain and are situated approximately at the geometric center of human head. Gonads, which are the ovaries in the female and testes in the male, are then stimulated by the gonadotrophic hormones, in turn stimulating their own hormone. So, ayan na yan. Testosterone is secreted while estrogen is secreted. Ito yung sa part na, my dear students, ito yung lalo na bakit mahirap maging high school teacher. Kasi one of the things that we should know, naging kayo naman ay naging high school at kayo naman din ay naging kaklase ng mga kaklase niyo. Or maybe you yourself. This is the time that the students now feel the sexual attraction. 'Di ba when you were young, bakit when I asked you, you're during your first puppy love, your crush, you didn't say sexy. You say cute, mabango, mabait, matalino. So usually those are the different qualities that you're looking for your crush. Babae, lalaki, cute siya, gano'n. Ang cute ng ngipin niya, gano'n. So, but with this one, in high school, the attraction is already there. You are attracted not just because of their face, but also their body. Because this is the time that you need to, oh my God, ito na yung start na you are exploring different things. You have your curiosity with you, peer pressure kasama din dyan. So that's why it's hard to become a teacher. Kasi sa high school teacher, I remember, I have this student of mine, nandun sila sa loob ng banyo. Nagulat kami kasi maaga silang pumapasok, silang mag-jowa nasa loob ng banyo. Then they were asked, "Why are you inside?" "Ma'am, nag-uusap po." Okay? Nag-uusap kayo. Maagang maaga, as in super duper aga. I think ang klase namin is 7, 6 o'clock, wala pa naman masyadong tao ng 6. You could talk privately in the campus without closing the door. You could talk kahit yung mahinang boses lang, pwede naman yon. But they are talking inside of the so kailangan mo siyang bantayan. Lalo na if you are the advisor. Kasi if they did something inside the class, ikaw ang mananagot doon. Or kung sino man yung subject teacher. That is also the reason why some of your teachers talagang minomonitor kayo kung nasaan. And as a teacher, dapat talaga nagla-lunch ang teacher sa classroom. Kung ano yung ginagawa ng elementary, dapat gano'n din yung ginagawa ng high school teacher. Dapat doon. Kasi your lunch break, ang ang ano kasi niyan is you will monitor the students. Sino-sino ang nabubuli, sino-sino yung mga nawawala. Okay, so dapat monitored mo sila kung saan sila pumupunta. Dapat lagi may nagro-ronda talaga. Kasi nga, you never know what will happen because they're so curious. And they came from different backgrounds, so it's really hard. Secondary male sex characteristics is already stimulated by the testosterone, comprised of the growth of the testis and scrotum, recognized to be the first sign of puberty, penis, the first pubic hair, the capacity for ejaculation, the growth spurt, the voice change, facial and hair development, beard growth, and continuing growth of pubic hair. The acceleration of the growth of the penis precedes the growth spurt in height. Pubic hair growth precedes the first appearance of facial hair growth. Occurring late in puberty, lowering of the voice cause of the enlargement of the larynx and double lengthening the vocal cords is viewed to be the obvious aspect of adolescence sa mga lalaki. So yan, nagsimula na, meron na kayong mga pubic hairs, yung mga muscles ninyo, iba na, yung goatee, goatee talaga, ano, yung meron na kayong balbas, meron na kayong mustache. So those are the different things that it is visible sa mga lalaki. Although, this is still case-to-case basis. I remember my student, nagkaroon lang siya ng bigote, grade 10 na. Ayun. So, it depends. So, then the girls naman, estrogen secretions that triggers the beginning of breast enlargement. So, dito, lumalaki na yung, nakikita na natin kung sino talaga yung pinagpala. So, minsan, sobrang laki ng boobs kahit high school pa lang. So, that's why, as a parent, we also need to give our kids training bras, I mean, sports bra, lalo na yung sobrang laki ng boobs ng bata. Tapos PE. Minsan yung mga magulang hindi rin nila naiisip, iniisip nila yung magtipid ng uniform tapos I remember some of my classmates, lumang-luma na yung PE uniform. Talaga tas ang laki pa ng kanyang hinaharap. So, ang hirap, ang sikip na alam niyo yun nakagano'n tas kasi iniisip magtipid pero kasi yun dapat malalaki. Kasi para makagalaw yung bata na hindi siya kasi not all women naman that are gifted, they like having big breasts. Kasi it's really hard. It's really hard to have big breasts kasi hindi ka makakagalaw. It's ilang kilo 'yan, lalo na yung mga sobrang laki talaga. So it's hard for them. So you need to, as a parent, we need to guide them. Okay, you need to have training bras. Ayan, isa 'yan. Tapos first time kasi nga, syempre bumibili sila ng mga bra nila. So yung mga cute sizes na bra, 'di ba? Ganyan. Naku, color-color naman yung mga bra ng mga bata. So you need to ano, anak, kasi nagiging bastusin ka. Wag naman, magsuot ka naman ng ano, ng panloob bago ka mag-bra. Minsan pa nga, sorry ha, because I have classmates, although hindi naman ako nagkaroon ng student, meron na siyang yung nipple area ng babae, kita na dun sa uniform. So, para ka lang si Jennifer Aniston sa Friends. Sabi mo, "Bakit hindi ka ba nagte-training bra?" So, kailangan pa bang sulatan ng nanay mo ng teacher yung nanay mo that you need to have a training bra or ano na talaga, puwede naman bumili sa Tiangge. So, luckily we have Shopee right now. It's easy for us to buy, bras for kids na mga o kaya bra talaga na class, size A lang para dun sa mga nagte-train pa. Kasi nagiging bastusin siya and not all, not iba nandidire lalo na if the face of the ano is not that ano, ayun 'di ba? So, it's really important for the parent to be very observant with the needs of their kids. So, estrogen secretion triggers the beginning of breast enlargement, the appearance of pubic hair, the widening of the hips in the growth spurt, the menarche, which is the first menstruation. The elevation of the female breast is the first external sign of puberty in girls, while the growth of the uterus and vagina accompanies continued enlargement of the breast. Generally, girls achieve menarche beginning 11 to 11.5 years old, 5%, 25% ang 12 to 12.5, and age 13 ay 60%. So may mga iba na late na, may iba nga college na eh. Minsan sabi nila it's about the genes, sa kinakain, maraming factors. There are however so different reaching menarche in accordance with the ethnic differences. Studies show that African American and European American girls may exhibit secondary sex activities as early as 8.87 years old and 9.96. Tapos early is 11.6 ang kanilang menarche. Now, spermacare signals the first sign of puberty and sexual maturation at boys. About 12 to 13, boys experience enlargement of the testes, and the manufacture of sperms and scrotum most likely experience the first ejaculation. So during this time, I remember there are some kids, yung mga wala pa silang ano, idea about this ejaculation. They do not do it or they cannot do it. Parang they are comparing their penises, but just comparing, but no other than that wala naman. But when you reach high school, that's the time that you will have fantasies na you're imagining the different things. Especially, for example, may mga nakita kang porn, okay, may mga ganon. Kasi minsan nangyayari na yung curiosity. Or maybe you have this kind of classmate of yours na 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 nasabi, "Uy, ito meron dito." Minsan kasi may gano'n. That's why sa dati kong school, when I was in high school, dahil nga sa ang daming nagpapasa ng porn, pinagbawal sa school na magdala ng phone na hindi basic. Sa lab high, maraming nagpasahan ng porn. So yun, nagdala na lang sila ng basic kasi nga ayaw. So, Diyos ko naman, para naman 'di uso Google Drive ano. So ngayon, iba-iba na sila ng mga ginagawa. So that's part of it. So now you have your fantasies and kasi I remember kasi when I was in elementary, my classmates are telling us na yung napanood niya, so nakagrupo kami na gano'n, "Alam mo Ika, napanood ko yung porn, naku ganito." Pero it's just for the fact that there's nothing ano, eh, there's nothing ano, parang they're just stating stories. They're just telling what they my classmates just telling what he saw. Just it. Pero kasi pag high school, that's already different na. So that's why you need to be very careful na rin. Masturbation or manipulation of physical sexual organs is caused by conscious fantasizing both among boys and girls. It is important to note that science and religion differ in their regard to masturbation. Modern medical science sees it as an inevitable transitional phenomenon among adolescents. So, on the other hand, religion regards it as gravely sin. Kasi sa religion, kaya mahirap yun eh. Kasi sa science, consider nila na that's normal. Parang sabi nga dun sa, one of the things that I like about the Big Bang Theory, sabi ni Amy, there's it. I have stomach, I eat. So I have sex organs, I crave. So parang logically may mga ganong part. So and in this one, halo din kasi yung that's why it's really important that the parents, the teachers could guide the kids. Bakit marami at this age na nagkakaroon? Kasi they don't have people who will answer these certain questions that they have in their minds. Parang hayaan mo na, let's cross the bridge when we get there. So, some of you siguro, parang walang pakialam sa ganun. Pero kasi, some of the bata, they're very curious and then they will result that they will do it themselves. So, it's very important sana. So, na sa bahay pa lang, maano na sila, ma-address na yung tanong. Although I know it's really hard sa men to men, parang kakuwento niyo sa tatay mo yon or yung tatay mag-uusap kayo about those kind of things, it's really awkward. Sa babae kasi very nosy ang mga babae. So, um, they keep on asking this kind of questions. Tapos parang yung tinatanong nila, tama mo ganyan, ganyan. Pero sa boys kasi, the father, if they will ask their son, it's a little bit awkward talaga. So, pero sana mas maturuan sila ng kanilang magulang. The secular trend, the striking tendency for children to become larger at all ages, has been perceived during the past 100 years. They are known as secular trend. The phenomenon reflects our more rapid maturation compared with the occurring in previous millennia. Sabi dito, in 1880, for example, the average age which the girls had their first menstrual period, well-nourished industrial societies ay 15 to 17 years old. Pero this is not true because depressed societies during this period is a bit later on about 15.5 years. So 100 years ago, boys reach adult height at ages 23 to 25 and 19 to 20. Pero ngayon, maximum height reached in 18 to 20 years old. So dati, tumatangkad pa hanggang 21. Kaya yung mga, for example, the cherry fur, hanggang 21 siya tumatalab. Pero ngayon, sabi, it's hanggang 13 to 14. Kaya kung ano yung height ng girls nila nung high school, konting-konti na lang yung idadagdag unless magkakaroon ka talaga ng supplements. But sa boys, may chance pa sila talaga na tumangkad pa. Now, sleeping habit naman natin is different. The adolescent sleeping habit is not the same as before kasi the sleeping habit of the adolescents depends on what they do. So mostly, di ba, they have classes and now they also have, ayan, um, marami nagagalit na magulang dyan because they want to play games, they want to text their friends, they love watching videos, they want to watch movies, read books, animes, and whatsoever. Studies show that teenagers are not getting enough sleep and would want more sleep. Actually, lack of sleep is likely caused by changes in adolescent patterns. Teens often stay up late because they enjoy it, especially with the advent of internet. Ayan na nga sinabi. About 90% of teenager in high school student report going to bed later than midnight. Diba dati when we were younger, 9 o'clock, kailangan tulog na kayo kasi 8 o'clock kayo nag-start na ano sa bed. But now, hindi. Kulang yung 9 o'clock. So, iba-iba. Ako, if you will ask me when I was in high school, siguro 10. 10 na talaga yung tulog ko. But when I was in ngayon college, 12 yung general tulog ko. Pag medyo, pag may kausap, mga 2, kaya mga gano'n. Pag may tinatapos na activity na deadline, so minsan 1 hour lang yung sleep ko, nakakaya ko naman siya. But the following day, I need to sleep medyo 9 o'clock ng gabi to 6. Pero 'pag normally 12 to 6, 1 to 6, basta 6 or 7 dapat gising na ako. Exploration, of course. Instinctively, adolescents become aware of the changes in sexuality. With this one, makikita natin yun eh, na even in some videos, makikita natin na, for instance, sabihin, ay, nag-iba siya ng itsura. Parang, nag-iba na siya ng itsura. Parang dati, ano, ngayon sexy na siya, ganun. Learners from sectarian, religious, and generic schools are more likely to consider sexual openness to be dangerous, if not sinfulness. Now, well, by the way, the fourth word that we're looking for today is, um, so meron tayong chan, mihar, the fourth word that we will be using for today is spectacular. Spectacular, sorry. Ayan, spectacular. Okay, so to some, yung exploration kasi na yan, yung mga bata, they are also curious. This is the time that they are talking about their sex. They're talking about lots of stuff that they seen in internet, drugs, and whatsoever. And I do have students who took drugs. Kaya nga ngayon, uso na yung drug test. But I think kay Duterte nagsimula yun. But now, uso na yung drug test kasi may mga iba na nagmamarijuana. I remember one of my students. Kasi naging close kami later on, tsaka sinabi niya nung tapos na. Sabi niya, "Alam mo ba ma'am, nung nalaman ko na magkakaroon ng drug test, ginawa ko, Diyos ko nakailang buko juice ako." Sabi niya para lang maihi ako ng maihi. Busog na busog daw siya pero hindi puwedeng mahuli siya. So I didn't know, tapos na nun, eh, nakapag-test na tapos nakaisang sem na after nun. So, hindi ko na alam. And next naman, one of my students, they said, "Ma'am, alam mo ba, naalala mo ba nung nagkaklase ka tapos masaya kami? O ano yun, yung C2 may lamang alcohol." Mga gano'n. Tapos minsan, "Ma'am, nung parang nagiging mga T-Rex si ano, o ano, ma'am, high siya nun sa marijuana." So, during this time, so nagta-try sila ng mga kung ano-ano. So, they're very dangerous. That's why as parents, we need to guide them. And as teachers, napakahirap siya talagang tignan. So, pluses and minuses in early late maturation. Early or late maturation deserves due consideration as this can be a factor for adolescent acceptance to and comfort satisfaction with his or body image. So girls' physical changes are more dramatic, but perceptions of not being well developed as compared with their peers can be caused by timidity or shyness, if not frustration. In the case of late maturing boys, since lack in body build, strength, motor performance, coordination, may inhibit their performance in co-curricular, extracurricular activities. Kasi sa girls, yung okay lang na hindi pa sila mag-mature, parang they're very cute pa. Pero sa boys, for example, basketball player, kailangan kasi mamasel-masel kasi 'pag hindi, lalo na 'pag lumalaban kayo ng inter-school, may mga iba grabe, grabe yung laki ng katawan nila. Kaya mahirap din sa 'pag kayo naging coach ng inter-school competition, they really need to check the age. Kasi minsan magtataka ka, bakit gano'n 'to, parang parang 3 years ko nang parang mahigit 5 years ko nang nakikita 'to. So, they have the age limit kasi may mga iba talaga mukhang mukhang matanda na tapos naglalaro pa. So, may mga gano'n talaga. So, it's different. So mas of course advantage 'pag mas mukha ka may edad pagdating sa sports. The ideal masculine and feminine physique. Okay, so they have the ideal body. So of course the eyes kailangan maganda. So they have, kaya lang the problem with that, some women, of course, they are taking different vitamins, they are taking supplements, or mga pampapayat, mga ganun. That is not very harmful for the kids. So the nutrition is very important. So siguro as a parent, we need to just encourage our kids to be active sila. Actually sa family, nakakaingit yung mga family na very active ang kanilang um, nakakaingit yung kanilang active sila sa sports. Na yun ang bonding nila kasi as in mapabata to matanda, they are engaged with that, so nakakatuwa. Okay, the ideal body, of course, you have your ideal bodies, but the habits that you could do that is cleanliness and grooming. May mga iba na ang ganda-ganda ng buhok, lalo sa boys, ang ganda-ganda ng buhok, tapos ang baho. Ganun. So, sana yon cleanliness and grooming is very important. Proper wearing of clothes and current styles, erect bodily posture. Ayan, so kailangan straight body tayo, eye contact while communicating, and decorum. So dapat tinuturo sa mga bata yung proper ways of talking to adults. So now, let's have the adolescence, the cognitive development of the high schoolers. So now, similarly remarkable as the physical changes in the transitional period of adolescence are changes in thinking terms. So, my dear students, the acquisition of new cognitive due to the brain's increasing in weight and refining synaptic connections, technical known as the corpus callosum, which joined according to hemispheres of the brain. So, my dear students, another brain development of the process of continuous concentration of the brain cells in the prefrontal cortex and related temporal parietal areas, technically known as myelination. So, this second development covers the brain systems whose executive functions relate to attention, verbal fluency, language, and planning. So, it's very important. Through brain scanning, three peaks in brain maturation have been identified by neurological scientists, and these are the age 12, age 15, and age 18.5. Coinciding with the operational thinking process of logical reasoning, accompanying brain changes in the cognitive ability of adolescents begins to acquire the spatial awareness and formulate abstract or general ideas involving numbers. So, nag-iiba sa 12, 15, at 18. So, dun, 18.5, dun nagkakaroon ng changes sa brain nila in using the brain scanner. So it is also the Piaget's formal operational thinker. So according to him, it demonstrates how the cognitive capacity of the adolescents allows him to go beyond the sensible, concrete, and dwell on what is abstract, hypothetical, multidimensional, and possible. In this realm of thought, the adolescent begins to attain subtly and thinking, entering spheres of possible futurables. So more specifically, formal operational thinking consists of propositional thinking, relativistic thinking, and real versus possible. Ano ba yung propositional? It's making assertions outside the visual evidence. For example, an unseen object is red or green, big or small, flat or round. So yun yung propositional thinking. So you are making assertions. You're thinking, ito ganito to. Okay. Relativistic thinking is subjectively making an opinion on facts. For example, arguing for and against the superiority of the races, whether white, brown. So relativistic naman is arguing with facts. And real versus possible is examining a situation and exploring the possible terms and situations or the solutions. Yun yun. Okay, so I guess please just read through the next. And for our last one, my dear students, for our last word, so I will not read it na lang. So you make this for your reading activity. The last word that we will have today would be um adolescence. Okay, so with that, sorry, hindi ko na di-discuss diretso kasi I'll be reading lang naman din these things because yun lang naman yun. Wala na namang iba. So number 5 is adolescence. So see you when I see you. Good luck sa inyong test.